Remote start. Alright, today we're working on a 2013 Kia Optima. It's got the standard key. And I'm just going to start with taking the door sill off. I'm going to go ahead and mount the antenna on the windshield up there, and then I'll be running the wire along down this A-pillar down into here. I kind of like to do that, get that out of the way. To remove this door sill, I'm just going to take a plastic panel tool, pry up on it, and then since I've only got one hand, I'm going to go ahead and put the camera down and I'll show you how it's clipped on. So you can see these clips here in the center. They clip onto the pinch weld, and then these plastic ones right here go into these holes. So it's really just get something under there, lift up on it, and pull. Okay, the next item I'm going to take off is going to be this kick panel, and if the lighting's good, there's not a screw here. This is just 4 plastic tabs that need to be depressed and then this pulled off. And then down here at the bottom right here is just a push pin, like a Christmas tree pin. I think somebody said it was an 8mm socket. You could just push into that hole. So while I'm doing this, I'm going to push in on this, and then I'm going to use my pry tool and slip this handle off. Just like that. So you can see what that was attached to. And then all this is just a hole. And then it slips over that, and those spread out to hold this in place. That's the easy way to remove these. Okay, we had a clip here that goes right here, so I'll pop that out, or it can even just slide back on over that. But now we got the kick panel free. We're gonna at least have the ground in here, and there's a couple other wires that say they go into the kick panel. I think now I'm going to go ahead and focus on getting this knee bolster off, as well as the shroud for the. Actually, I might just pull the shroud off the steering column. And to remove the shroud, there is a Phillips here, a Phillips here, and one on the other side. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Alright, I've got the screws removed, and now it's time to pop this shroud off. I don't know if you've seen that. I just grabbed on the inside of here and pulled down. That all unsnapped really easy. The other side. Okay. Now we're free. Now it's just hung up on this ignition switch. There we go. Alright, this is going to give us access to main ignition wires, which are here. Right here. Right here. Oh, you can't see them. Main ignition wires, which are here. The immobilizer wiring is Actually, I think that's what's in the kick panel. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and run the antenna and have it down here ready to go. Alright, here's the antenna. It's got the 3M adhesive on the back. Go ahead and peel this off. Okay. And I always like to put the antenna in the center of the windshield, as high as you can go. Right, so there's the antenna, and now I'm going to tuck the wire right down the B-pillar, pull this weather stripping out, and it'll tuck in behind here just fine. Okay, and that is all there is to putting the wire under the headliner and running into the A-pillar. So now I'm just going to straighten this wire out and then tuck this as I go while following with the trim. So now I'm going to go ahead and get started on making my connections. I'm just going to cut to the end and show you each connection that I made and where you can find each wire. Alright, I just want to show you, I unplugged this main harness from the ignition switch, and I'm going to cut back some of this here just so I have more room to make my connections. And I just wanted to show you that little tip, if you will, or a way to make it a little easier on yourself. So one thing to be mindful of when you're making your connections and running the wire is where your main unit's going to go, as well as making sure your wires are not going to get caught up in anything that moves. Some vehicles have open steering, the steering shaft right under here. So this one is all fully enclosed, nothing to worry about there. Alright, here are all the main ignition harness wires connected. I'm still going to clean this up a little bit more, but I just wanted to go through and show you. On this, the green is constant power, your pink is your ignition, so it's going to be pink to pink, and then we're going to switch to accessory, which orange on the Kia side, on the car side. We'll go to orange on the remote start side. And then accessory 2, accessory 2 is blue, and it goes to pink and white, which that one we need to program to be accessory 2 instead of ignition 2. And then yellow is the starter wire, which goes to purple on the remote start. So I'm going to clean this up and then I'll show you what it looks like cleaned up and plugged in. Alright, I've got it all taped back up, and this is what we're left with. Alright, the next wire I'm going to be looking for is going to be in this connector on the light switch, and it's the parking light wire being negative. It'll be negative, and then the wire is pink. And I'll be testing this to make sure that it's accurate. Alright, here is the connection for the parking light. So a lot of the information I found said that this wire is pink. It looks tan to me, but it's the furthest one out, the furthest wire out on this plug for the parking light switch, and that's where it's at. Alright, this is where I found the brake wire, the brake shutdown wire. It's the top green wire in this right here. We'll go ahead and tape this back up, and then I'm going to go through and show you all the connections where I found them. Alright, this is just a quick overview of where I found the wires. So here is the brake wire I showed before I taped this up. The brake wire is here. Then the data wires are actually, I don't know if we have enough light to do this. The data wires are back on the back side of the fuse box. I think you can see the two wires that I've got running into that. So that's the can high and the can low wires. And then we've got the parking light wire. Parking light wires right here. And then all of the ignition wires are right here. And that is the end of this install. I'm going to put everything back together. It's going to look just like it did before I took it apart. Alright, I want to see if I can find a good place to put this sticker. I was going to put it on this crossbar here, but the hood, well, might put it here or here. I think this actually looks the best, and it's basically a warning of whoever might change the battery that if there was a signal sent to the remote start while the battery was out, that upon reconnect. Alright, so here we are. I'm gonna lock it, unlock it, now remote start. Shut it off and pop the trunk. Press and hold. So I didn't know until I got into installing this remote start that this car actually doesn't have an immobilizer on it. And I'm not sure how to tell other than this key is really lightweight and there doesn't appear to be any chips in them in the head of the key, but you know, I've had other cars that say it might not have an immobilizer, and 99 times out of 100 it's got one. But anyway, if you know how to tell ahead of time whether or not a car has an immobilizer on it, let me know.